Watching KOLR 10 News at 10.
And we're still tonight at 10 finding more damage caused by those tornadoes and storms we saw last night. Good evening once again to you. I'm David Oliver.
And I'm Jennifer Abreu. Thanks for joining us tonight at 10. We've got 3 tornadoes confirmed so far, and many people are reporting roofs blown away as well as downed trees and power lines. One
of those places with damage we're talking about is Douglas County, and even the fire station there was not spared from the storm.
One of our other firehouses also, we lost the roof off of it. So we took quite a bit of damage through the storms.
And KOLR 10's Madison Heaver was out in eastern Douglas County to find out just how much damage those storms did to the fire stations.
While Eastern Douglas County Fire was out helping people in the storms last night, they came back to station number 3 like this, with the tree that had fallen on it making it a total loss.
And we came back to find out that our own station had been damaged.
Douglas County Fire Chief Chris Hammett says the tree that took down the back part of station number 3 results in a complete loss.
Sometime during the night, during the storms, this tree came down and took out the back half of the firehouse here. As you can see, this is what's left. We were dispatched at 2 a.m. for weather spotting, and once the storm went through, we about from 2:30 till about 7 o'clock this morning, we were cutting trees out of roads, and we had several houses in the area that took damage, and we helped those residents and cut trees and had down power lines and all over.
He says there aren't any reports of injuries as a result of the storm.
I'm just grateful that nobody was hurt. Could have been a lot worse. Yeah, we're going to have to rebuild. We have to have a firehouse in this area to protect the residents. Right now we have the fire truck stored in a local resident's barn for the time being.
Chief Hammett said it will take about $30,000 to rebuild this station. In Douglas County, Madison Heaver, Ozarks First.
And so far tonight, the National Weather Service has yet to confirm if the damage we showed you there done to that eastern Douglas County fire station was indeed caused by a tornado.
There was also damage in Sparta, where a neighborhood suffered some tree and building damage. The tree damage was quite extensive next to some homes and people's backyards. As you can see, this neighborhood was hit pretty hard last night with a lot of trees on the ground and some blocking the road this morning. Residents said their houses also suffered minor damage to the roof and walls.
Ran downstairs, grabbed the birds, the dogs ran downstairs. We didn't have a whole lot of time to run to safety, but we all made it, thankfully. Heard a lot of wind. It was scary listening to the wind because I felt like maybe the roof was going to come off.
There was also reports of trampolines in backyards and lawn chairs gone missing.
I want to bring in meteorologist Beth Finella with us right now at 10 to kind of help us walk through how these storms developed last night and how they progressed across the Ozarks. It was pretty wild, Beth.
It was a very fast moving system. Took about 4 hours to go from one end of the area to the next, or to the end, and they moved through very quickly, leaving behind scattered damage. Most of them were damaging winds and straight line winds, which is what this event was going to be. This is what we had planned for because there was plenty of wind energy. Didn't drop in terms a whole lot of rain, and only about a couple hair reports. And of course, we have those 3 confirmed tornadoes now that the National Weather Service confirmed today. This one 3 miles south and east of Republic with an EF0 tornado, about 5 miles on the ground. This one north of Highlandville with an EF1 tornado at 90-mile-per-hour winds on the ground for 12 miles. This tornado was the tornado that tracked north of Sparta. It was on the ground for 13 minutes. And this tornado started south of Rogersville and moved 6.5 miles on the ground for about 10 minutes. In a couple more minutes, we will talk more about some storm reports.
Thanks. Well, in the midst of all of that damage, we're seeing neighbors come together and help each other. It's happening after storms hit Rogersville. Strong winds did damage there, especially along Highway U. No one was hurt, but there are reports of trees down and several buildings damaged. One homeowner woke up to a tree uprooted and toppled onto his roof, damaging the house as well as his garage. A nearby church and cemetery were also damaged as those winds barreled through. Rogersville fire crews worked all morning to clear debris from the road. Since then, neighbors are helping each other clean up and recover. Well, a day of teamwork also happening in Diggins, that's in Webster County, where nearly 100 horses and buggies lined up in an Amish community to help clean up what the storms left behind. Several structures were damaged by high winds in the area, including one barn roof that was torn completely off. Residents say they're used to bad weather but were shocked by the extent of the damage. Although they are thankful no one was hurt. The community stayed out until sundown, lending helping hands. Members of the Amish community where this happened didn't want to go on camera as it's not something that fits with their beliefs.
We can also tell you, in addition to all the storm cleanup happening today, city utilities crews have been out there working hard all day to try to restore power to areas that lost their power overnight. Throughout the early morning hours, there was at one point city utilities crews out there seeing more than 9,000 outages. Since then, we're now told only about 1,200 outages remain tonight. Additional crews arrived about 4 o'clock today to try to help fix all those remaining outages.
And as everyone is cleaning up all the damage from those severe storms, Springfield is setting up some drop-off centers for any tree limbs or other yard waste you might collect. Here's a look at where you can find those centers. They will open tomorrow and stay open through Saturday from 8 a.m. to 6 p.m. You can drop off up to 10 bags for free. However, donations are encouraged.
Also making news now at 10, a child's death is being investigated tonight by the Greene County Sheriff's Office. Deputies responded out to the 3200 block of West Primrose this morning when they found a child there found to be unresponsive. The child was taken to the hospital, but the child did not survive. Sheriff says they have no reason to believe the death is suspicious so far, but they're waiting on results now from the medical examiner.
We have no information for you tonight. Here's what happened at City Council meeting not too long ago. A resolution to regulate short-term lending establishments was tabled tonight. Councilwoman Phyllis Ferguson wants to table this issue to create a work group to look deeper into it and search for alternative solutions. Council also voted to approve a resolution accepting recommendations for the Galloway redevelopment. The resolution will now seek to protect the character of Galloway Village. The city will use conditional overlay districts in conjunction with rezoning cases in order to do so. Council also approved a $500,000 grant from the Department of Justice to fund victim advocates employed by the Victim Center and Harmony House who work with the Springfield Police Department. The Springfield Greene County Health Department will handle and distribute that grant funding.
Also in medical coverage now at 10 this Monday, the effort to make mental and behavioral health less of a stigma in local schools. That's the goal this afternoon at the Youth Mental Health Conference that happened today, held by Borough Behavioral Health. Our Frances Lynn was there, and she has more tonight.
About 1 in 4 students in school systems today struggle with a mental health issue.
If we're not addressing the needs of our students, we see an increased dropout rate. We see increased suspension rates in our schools. We see students whose achievement goes down.
Board member Phyllis Wolfram says behavioral health conversations are very important to have, especially in a school setting.
This has been, I think, the first conference here in Southwest Missouri that has brought together mental health providers as well as educators to really come together and talk about what's needed for our students.
The situations that a lot of our kids are coming from is putting them in a place that they're stressed out, they're overwhelmed, and they're coming into the classroom without the skill set of knowing really how to behave.
Keynote speaker Heather Forbes says there is still a stigma in schools about mental health.
There's definitely a stigma. Sometimes you don't want to talk about your feelings, you don't want to get all mushy and talk about your emotions, but it's super important to treat your mental health just as important as your physical health. In other communities, it's not as broadcasted and talked about, and we're hoping to spread that conversation a little bit more.
Borough Behavioral Health President CJ Davis says that's why they're providing services directly to students.
It takes a long time to get into an outpatient clinic to see a provider, sometimes 30 days, 45 days. So you can imagine when a borough behavioral health or a mental health expert's embedded in a school district, they can get services within days, within hours, and sometimes minutes.
And lessons to educators of how to help students with a mental health condition instead of punishing them.
And our children, when they feel connected, when they feel belonging, and they feel they have a sense of community, then they have the ability to not only do well behaviorally, but also academically.
There's nobody that should suffer in silence from a mental health condition, especially as students.
Frances Lynn, Ozarks First.
Award was also given out there at the conference this afternoon, the first Youth Mental Health Advocate of the Year award.
The first ever Borough Youth Mental Health Advocate Award to Cheryl Houston.
Cheryl Hewson is the principal of the SCORE campus, and she won the award for the Nixa school system.
All right, moving on to weather now. After a stormy night, things are looking a lot calmer in the Ozarks tonight, right, Beth?
Yes, everyone should sleep very well tonight. We will not be woken up by tornado sirens. Clear overnight and cool overnight. Temperatures will be in the 40s. We're going to stay breezy, though, tonight into tomorrow and eventually into Wednesday before rain chances return. We'll talk about that right after the break. Don't go anywhere.